Have you ever imagined living in a world where every step you take is monitored, where you have no freedom to choose how you live, and where freedom itself is nothing more than a distant dream? Welcome to North Korea, a country where life is akin to a giant prison. Today, we will embark on a journey to explore one of the most mysterious and terrifying places on our planet. If you enjoy exploring the hidden mysteries of countries around the world, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Join me as we continue to uncover untold stories and the hidden corners of the world that few have ever seen. A nation imprisoned within its own borders. North Korea is one of the most isolated and closed-off countries in the world. Leaving the country is not only a daunting challenge but can also lead to a death sentence for those who dare to attempt it. What's even more terrifying is that even if you manage to overcome all barriers and escape the borders, your remaining family members will face severe punishment, often resulting in the entire family being arrested or subjected to a life of torment in labor camps. Life for North Korean citizens is controlled to an unimaginable extent. From daily activities like eating and traveling to the very words they speak, everything is under strict government surveillance. The stringent security measures are not only present at border areas, but permeate every aspect of social life. A dense network of secret police, sometimes even within families, creates an atmosphere of fear and mutual suspicion. Any statements or actions that displease the government can lead to severe consequences, ranging from being sent for re-education to disappearing without a trace. In such a society, dreaming of freedom is both a luxury and a danger. People must always be cautious, hiding their true thoughts, and living a life where all emotions are suppressed. The power of control. North Korea under Kim Jong-un's rule. North Korea under Kim Jong-un's leadership is a nation where absolute power is concentrated in the hands of one individual. Kim Jong-un is not only the head of the government, but also a symbol of fear and boundless authority. With a population of around 26 million people spread over more than 120,000 square kilometers, this country is not only isolated by its geographical location, but also by its harsh ruling system. Kim Jong-un continues the legacy of his father and grandfather in maintaining a family-run dictatorship. The North Korean government has established a comprehensive surveillance and control system, including banning internet access, restricting information from outside the country, and using propaganda to sustain a cult of personality around the leader. Only a select few are allowed to use the internet, and even they can only access a government-controlled intranet, with information heavily filtered and monitored. Furthermore, North Korea is also known for its education and media systems, both of which are entirely controlled by the government. From a young age, students are taught absolute loyalty to the leader and the nation, while the media only broadcasts information favorable to the government, with images of Kim Jong-un always portrayed as the nation's savior. This system is upheld by fear, with harsh punishments for those who dare to resist or show dissent. North Korea's foreign policy is also part of this control. The country regularly conducts nuclear and missile tests, defying international opposition as a way to reinforce Kim Jong-un's power and assert the regime's existence. Through these actions, the North Korean government sends a message that they are not intimidated by external pressure, but are determined to protect their power and independence. In this context, the North Korean people have no choice but to comply with the government's control. Those who dare to dream of freedom or attempt to escape the country are branded as traitors and face horrific consequences. This has created a society where fear and a lack of freedom have become the norm, and all efforts to change the situation are brutally suppressed. A history of division, the birth of North Korea. Before North Korea and South Korea separated, the Korean peninsula was a single nation with a rich cultural and historical heritage. However, from 1910 to 1945, Korea endured the brutal occupation of the Japanese Empire. During this period, the Korean people faced severe exploitation and oppression. Japan imposed assimilation policies, forcing Koreans to abandon their language, culture, and even their names in order to serve Japan's goal of turning Korea into part of its empire. When World War II ended in 1945 and Japan was defeated, Korea was liberated, but soon found itself divided due to the Cold War's influence. The peninsula was split into two, with the north under Soviet control and the south under American influence. The boundary between the two regions was established at the 38th parallel, marking the official division of Korea. In 1948, after a series of negotiations and political conflicts, North Korea was officially established as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, led by Kim Il-sung. This event marked the beginning of a family dictatorship that has lasted for generations. With support from the Soviet Union and China, Kim Il-sung turned North Korea into a closed-off and isolated state, where every aspect of life was tightly controlled by the government. Despite the official division, hostility and tension between the two Koreas continued to escalate, culminating in the Korean War in 1950. The war lasted 3 years, causing significant loss of life and destruction, but ultimately only led to an armistice agreement without a formal peace treaty. This left the Korean peninsula divided, with the North and South remaining in a state of tension and confrontation to this day. Life under dictatorship, a living hell. Life under Kim Jong-un's dictatorship is truly a living hell for the people of North Korea. Not only is there no freedom, but the citizens also have no privacy or autonomy. Every aspect of life is controlled by the government, from trivial matters like eating and moving to important decisions such as marriage and work. The people are forced to worship Kim Jong-un and his family as living gods, with their images displayed in every home, office, and school. Government control extends beyond strict regulations and is enforced through fear and oppression. People are not allowed to express any dissenting opinions, and those who dare to do so are arrested, tortured, and in many cases executed. Labor camps and political prisons are scattered across the country, holding tens of thousands of people deemed enemies of the state. In these places, prisoners endure extremely harsh conditions. Frequently, children are not spared from the regime's control. From a young age, they are taught that Kim Jong-un is their savior, and any behavior that does not align with party ideology is considered treason. Children are trained to become loyal soldiers of the state, with propaganda-filled lessons designed to maintain the stability and power of the regime. The quest for freedom, why North Koreans want to escape. Amidst the tightly controlled and deprived lives, the desire for freedom has become a cherished dream for many North Koreans. For them, South Korea, a land of freedom and prosperity, seems like a distant paradise they can never reach. In South Korea, people live in better conditions, with comfortable homes, stable jobs, and the freedom to choose their way of life, without fear of being watched or controlled. Stories of life in South Korea, whether through accounts from successful defectors or leaked news, are enough to ignite a spark of hope in their hearts, even though they know that escaping is no easy feat. Many North Koreans are willing to risk everything, even their lives, for a chance to live freely. They know that life back home holds no future, and despite the dangers that lie ahead, they are determined to undertake perilous journeys to cross the border. For them, the price of freedom is invaluable, and no matter how difficult it may be, they remain steadfast in their decision. Terrifying punishments, retribution for defectors. However, escaping from North Korea is an extremely dangerous task with almost no way out. The North Korean government views defectors as despicable traitors, and anyone caught trying to escape faces horrific punishments. Kim Jong-un has ordered heightened border security, with electronic fences, continuous patrols by guards, and advanced surveillance measures. Those caught attempting to cross the border are often shot on sight without trial. If they are captured alive, their fate is even worse. These individuals are publicly executed or imprisoned in political camps under inhumane and harsh conditions to set an example for others. Public executions are not only a means of punishing defectors, but also a way for the North Korean government to maintain control and instill fear in the population, reminding them that any act against the state will be ruthlessly dealt with. It is not just the defectors themselves who are punished, but their families as well. Relatives of escapees are often regarded as accomplices and face severe consequences, including imprisonment in labor camps or exile to remote, impoverished areas. This policy of retribution has heightened fear and prevented many from even considering escape, as they fear not only for themselves but for the safety of their families. The caste system, division, and control. One of the most powerful tools of the North Korean government is the Songbun caste system. This system is not just a simple division of social classes, but a comprehensive means of controlling every aspect of individual lives in society. Based on this system, every North Korean citizen is classified into one of three main categories: the core class, core, the wavering class, wavering, and the hostile class, hostile. The core class consists of those who have shown absolute loyalty to the government and typically come from families with significant contributions to the revolution or in wars for the country's benefit. Members of this class enjoy numerous privileges, such as living in the capital, Pyongyang, where living conditions are better, and having access to better educational and job opportunities. The wavering class includes those with no outstanding records in serving the country, but also no history of opposing the regime. These are ordinary citizens, often living in rural areas or smaller cities, with limited access to social services and benefits. Although not severely discriminated against, they still live under strict surveillance and control, with every action and word closely monitored. The hostile class is the lowest tier in North Korean society, comprising individuals deemed to have thoughts or actions against the regime. They may be descendants of those who collaborated with the Japanese military during the occupation, religious followers, or those considered disloyal to the government. Members of this class face severe discrimination, often exiled to remote, desolate regions, and stripped of all basic rights. Their lives are a series of restrictions and oppressions, with little chance to improve their social status. The Songbun caste system not only divides society, but also creates an atmosphere of fear and suspicion among people. Anyone found to be associated with or assisting those in the hostile class can be demoted and face severe consequences. This weakens social cohesion and makes people afraid to trust one another, as anyone could be an informant for the government. The struggle for survival, dangerous escape routes. Despite facing numerous risks and dangers, many North Koreans are determined to find a way to escape the tightly controlled country. The escape routes often involve perilous journeys, crossing heavily guarded border areas, or navigating treacherous seas. One of the most common routes is crossing the border into China, where some North Koreans hope to find help from humanitarian organizations or brokers. However, this journey is extremely dangerous, as the China-North Korea border is tightly guarded with electronic fences, continuous patrols, and sophisticated surveillance measures. Escapees not only face the risk of being caught and returned to North Korea, but also encounter human traffickers or criminal gangs that exploit their desperation for profit. Another route involves swimming across the sea to South Korea or Japan. This is an incredibly hazardous journey, as escapees must not only contend with rough seas and harsh weather, but also avoid detection by the North Korean Navy, which is ready to shoot anyone found attempting to escape. For those who choose this route, the chances of success are very slim, and many have perished in the ocean, with their bodies only found days later, drifting at sea. Despite knowing these risks, for many North Koreans, the price of freedom is worth any cost. They know that staying means continuing to live under oppression, and despite the slim chances of success, they are determined to find a path to a better life. Family retribution, the consequences of escape. In North Korea, punishment does not end with the individual who escapes, but extends to their entire family. When an escapee is discovered, The government not only arrests or executes them, but also punishes their family, sometimes for up to 3 generations. This means that parents, siblings, and even children of the defector may be persecuted, regardless of whether they were involved in the escape. Families of escapees are often exiled to labor camps or remote areas with extremely harsh living conditions. In these labor camps, they are forced to work under brutal conditions, with little food or medical care, frequently subjected to beatings and cruel treatment. Many cannot survive these conditions and die in the camps, never seeing freedom again. This has created an atmosphere of fear and resentment in North Korean society, where anyone can be punished simply for the actions of a relative. This policy of family retribution is not only a deterrent to those considering escape, but also a means for the government to consolidate power by spreading fear and preventing people from even thinking about rising against the regime. Love forbidden, taboos in North Korea. In a country where every aspect of life is controlled, love and marriage are no exceptions. In North Korea, love does not happen freely as it does in other countries. All romantic relationships must adhere to strict government regulations, and marriages must be approved by the state. This means that people do not have the right to choose their life partners based on love but must follow the criteria set by the government, such as compatibility in songbun and loyalty to the regime. Couples found to be in a relationship without government approval may face severe punishment. In many cases, they are forced to separate or coerced into marrying someone else arranged by the state. Worse still, those considered to have seriously violated the rules on love and marriage may face harsh penalties, including public executions. This is not only a deterrent, but also a way for the government to maintain control and ensure complete dominance over society. This reality has made love a luxury and a risk in North Korea. People must live in fear of government surveillance and suppress their natural emotions to avoid punishment. This has severely weakened social relationships, leaving people lonely and isolated within their own communities. Now, you understand why escaping from North Korea is so difficult. This is a country where freedom is suffocated, where life is like living in a giant prison. But despite the difficulties and dangers, there are still those who refuse to live under oppression and are determined to seek freedom, even if the price they pay could be their lives. Reflect on this and appreciate the freedom we have in our world.